It's Mizzou That's Who here on KC Sports. We're Tucker Franklin hanging out with Maggie Johnson to preview Mizzou and Oklahoma. We got Dave Myrick joining us to talk about that here in a little bit. But first, we got to talk about Missouri's win over Mississippi State and everything else that's happened in between. Maggie, how was your weekend? How was it out at Faroe?
Oh, it was a beautiful day at Faroe. First half a little bit shaky. I think obviously there were some not great calls on the field, and then the two targetings that were probably legit. Don't hate me, people, but they were probably legit. So, it was a wild adventure. And then the second half was a great time, and those seniors got their rocks, and I was so happy for them. And Drink is undefeated in senior nights.
Ooh, great stat. That is true. He always gets it done for the seniors. I thought that was cool they brought the M back. And then a part of me is like, oh, yeah, that's cool they brought the M back. And then I thought, why didn't they do that the whole year?
Yeah. And honestly, they did it like a couple of days before.
Yes.
A couple of days before. I'm like, did you not think about this? Or did other people get to you about it? I don't know. I'm also confused how they're going to do it next year, because when you look at how the Block M area is, it's definitely on top of, you're going to be able to go underneath the Rock M.
Right.
So I'm like, how are the players even going to get up there? It's going to be crazy, but we'll see. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, you would hope so. It's like when they designed it, they're like, oh no, we didn't think about this aspect of the Rock M.
We didn't think about the main tradition that has to do with well, I guess, okay, maybe second. It's probably tied with painting the rocks, but the two traditions, you kind of got to think about it through a bit. As long as they put the columns outside of the dang stadium, they make those pillars look like columns, I'm gonna be fine. If they don't do that, that's gonna be the biggest missed opportunity of like all time.
Well, in their like mock-ups, they have that, right?
No.
Oh no,
they're not columns in the mock-ups. So some of the weird mock-ups from like 5-7 years ago, I think they have something like that outside, but there are not columns, or they're not our columns where the columns are in the mock-ups.
Yeah, that would be a big missed opportunity. You are right. Yeah. I'm excited so no more home games at Faroe. So the next time that we see the stadium, it will hopefully be finished. And it will be the finished product for this Missouri Tigers football team in 2026 for the 100th anniversary of the stadium. I'm excited to see how it looks. I didn't go at all this season. Like, this is the first time in a long time that I didn't go to a game because I was doing like the post game show and everything. I probably could have snuck away for one of them. I think you guys would have understood, but timing just didn't work out. So I've not seen. That's not true. I've seen the construction because I've been to Columbia, but it's not for a game. So the next time I go to a game, it will be with the fully bowled in construction of the end zone complete. I am excited for that. I'm very excited for how the stadium is going to look, and it's gonna, not that it didn't before, but it's gonna really look like, I know I've driven by, it's gonna look like a real, like a big stadium, and that's exciting. I remember when they put in the second level over the top of I remember that
east side.
Yeah, the east side edition, because we used to always sit up on that east side over there when that was their home side. When I back in the day, and I remember when they put that in, I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome. This is
SEC football,
right?" And now they did they've done the south end zone and now the north end zone since then. So it's like they've done a lot more to the stadium since that huge addition that they did there. But overall, a really good game, and a game that I think Gabe DeArmond said this, and he wrote this in his Monday morning 10 thoughts there on PowerMizzou.com. A game that might get forgotten a little bit against Mississippi State, but a performance that should not be forgotten is the one from Ahmad Hardy, wearing the run the damn ball hat in his honor today, because, man, 300 yards against an SEC defense. I don't care if it's Mississippi State. That doesn't matter. 300 yards is 300 yards. That is one of the highest totals in program history. It only trailed Devin West for most in a single game in program history. He also had 3 touchdowns, which matched his career best and marked the third time this year he's had a 3-touchdown game. Insane day for Ahmad Hardy. After the game, he was all smiles with Truman on the post-game interview. I don't know if you saw that clip, but what a day for Ahmad Hardy.
Yeah, no, great day. And people can say what they want to say about Mississippi State, but Mississippi State didn't give up this many rushing yards to other teams that they've played. It's like they gave up 131 to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, more than double. Florida was also, I think I just looked at only 172. So yeah, giving up 300 just to one player. That's a pretty good day for the Missouri Tigers, the offensive line. Getting Brett Norfleet back, which I think changes the game in terms of blocking. Love to see him get the ball more in the passing game, but if he's blocking like that, he had a couple of really good blocks in that game. So you like what you see other than those penalties that absolutely have to get cleaned up. I'm glad that both of the targetings happened in that first half, though, because we'll have the full team able to play against Oklahoma. So that's at least good, but you've got to clean those up. It should have been way more yards. It was like, I think 11 penalties for 74 yards. Mm-hmm. And half of those penalties were on those goal line stands. So it was like half the distance to the goal. So it was like a foot every time. So it probably would have been way over 100 yards if they were, in midfield or something like that. But yeah, you've got to clean those up before you go to a very daunting Oklahoma team.
This defense has a knack for taking just the most untimely penalties. I think I tweeted that out at the time. It's just like they just know, it's like, what shouldn't we do here? Take a penalty. All right, let's get a personal foul. Let's throw this dude on the.
Let's top, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I do love the attitude that this defense has, right? But like sometimes it's too much. You talk about the Alabama game, you talk about Zion Young. Like that's a 3rd and 15 if he doesn't talk to Ty Simpson, but now it's a first down.
Yeah.
If he doesn't thumb, what did he do? Did he thumbs down in his face or something like that? And they're like, that's a.
And he wasn't even involved. He wasn't even involved in that play.
He came over there and
he like ran across the field to do it, which that's obviously a weak call. Like you don't get to see it, especially because with all these calls that were happening in the first half against Mizzou, and like the stadium is booing like crazy. I'm sure you heard it on the telecast, but with all of that going on, it's just. Better at that point.
Yeah.
You gotta stop. Yeah. You gotta stop doing those silly things. And I know adrenaline can get to you, but you have to be more disciplined.
I do think that those as you mentioned, I do think the targetings were targeting. I think the rule that you get ejected is ridiculous. I think that's absolutely insane. I don't think that should be a part of it.
Well, there's no way that also like what the offensive player is going to do a lot of the time. Like if you're launching off the ground and the player is like standing up, come on, like that's a little bit more obvious. If the player is going down, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to tell. And Blake Shapen was diving forward a lot of that game. So I'm like, how do you want us to make those tackles? The ejection it's a little bit much.
Blake Shapen is a quarterback that is incredibly hilarious to watch play.
Yeah. I think their backup, is going to be pretty good, but Shapen.
Yeah, they went to that drive and they drove all the way down the field with Tamario Taylor as their quarterback. They're like, you know what, Blake Shapen back in.
Yeah.
I was so confused because I saw him go in and he had that really good drive, and I was like, well, shit, this is not going to be very fun because they're probably going to play him the rest of the time now. And then Blake Shapen went in the next drive, and I was like, that's okay. We'll take it. Thank you, I guess.
Yeah.
It was
Levy loves Shapen, I guess.
He really does. But also on the note of Ahmad Hardy, he was named a semifinalist for the Doak Walker Award. Missouri has kept a trend of putting running backs on this award list, and they keep putting guys up there. He's 5th place in Mizzou single season rushing list and is now 282 yards away from breaking Cody Schrader's all-time mark of 1,627 yards set in 2023. His 15 touchdowns are 3rd nationally, putting him just 3 away from tying Mizzou's single season record of 18, held by Brad Smith and Bob Stuber in 1942.
Brad Smith holding that is actually hilarious, though.
It is kind of
like our quarterback.
For how many good running backs they've had, for Brad Smith to have the most rushing touchdowns in a season shows you how good Brad Smith was.
Oh yeah, he was a stud. But no, you hit it on the head with saying that it's becoming a trend, and we have to give a lot of that credit to Coach Looper, who you and I were talking about a little bit earlier. Obviously, we had Tyler Beatty be a finalist in 2021. Cody Schrader be that finalist in 2023. And if we can get Ahmad Hardy to the finalist spot in 2025, like that's 3 in 5 years. That's crazy. I think Ahmad Hardy will be a finalist unless, barring something
I'd be surprised.
crazy. I don't know how you put a player that's leading the country in rushing yards not as a finalist. I know a lot of people are, Jeremiah Love, St. Louis guy, you got to support him, but
sure,
he has 20 carries less and 211 yards. I mean, I'm not saying that he can't get that in a game, but that's probably like 2 games behind, what Hardy's doing, and Hardy still has 2 games left to run. So
right.
It would be very crazy to me if Ahmad Hardy is not a finalist for that award. I
agree. And especially when you look at how big of a lead he does have in leading and rushing yards. Like he's got 1,346 yards already. He's a 6th player in SEC history to rush for 300 yards in a game. That obviously coming against Mississippi State. He already has the 100-yard mark in 7 games this year, in a 250 and a 300-yard game. So like just looking at those like accolades of like what he's done, this award isn't just like, oh, who's the best running back on the best team? Who's the running back on the best team? Basically, it is the best running back in college football. Mm-hmm. I think Ahmad Hardy has a great conversation, a great case to be had for this. I know there's a lot of love for Jeremiah Love, and rightfully so. Phenomenal running back. Yeah, he's very good. I remember waiting for him, hoping that he was going to commit to the University of Missouri. Obviously, it didn't happen. Because he's at Notre Dame and he's doing very well, and he's probably going to be a top 10. He's probably going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL, truthfully. Yeah. So like he is that talented of a player, and I don't think there's any way like Ahmad Hardy would have to. I don't even know what Ahmad Hardy would have to do to not be in to be a finalist for that game. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremiah Love wins the award, right? Just because
name alone.
And I think that's going to be big.
I think Kewan Lacey will also be up there. I could see that being the final 3, to be honest with you, which is crazy to think that Mizzou the 2 would have been at could have been at Mizzou at the same time. But it's funny because people keep messaging me. They're like, "How did you trade in that used car and get that big of a upgrade on it?" And a used car that is a good used car,
yeah,
like a Toyota or something, No, I don't know how we did it either, but I'm liking the talent evaluations that are going on in that running back room.
They've been able to find a lot of great talent to the transfer portal on all sides of the ball. I mean, they've got huge finds on the defensive side of the ball that they have really hung out them. Also, shout out to Toriano Pride. Last game is a Missouri Tiger in Furrow Field, a Missouri guy coming out there and getting a pick 6. I think Missouri tweeted this out. His first game as a Missouri Tiger was a pick 6 at Furrow Field.
I remember it, yep.
And he had a pick 6 against Mississippi State. Now, it does help, right, to win a game when you have 2 defensive touchdowns. Like, that really does help. And I think Missouri's going to need to do that a whole lot more against Oklahoma if they're going to do that. But we'll get into that a little bit more here in a little bit with Dave. But Maggie, Missouri found themselves back in the college football playoff rankings. Were you surprised that they got back in the rankings after falling out last week?
I knew that they were very high up in the points when they dropped out. It was funny because I was watching the selection show last night and they were talking about how they were giving like Oklahoma the benefit of the doubt on a couple of their losses because their quarterback was hurt. I think maybe they're giving us a little bit of the benefit of the doubt with that Texas A&M game, which is probably the right decision. I know a lot of people are upset that Mizzou is ranked. To me, it's like 20 through 25. Does it really matter unless you're a group of 5 team that's, fighting for that last spot that needs to be in? But it doesn't really matter that much to me. I am happy for them that it's a ranked thing, but if you lose this week, you're just unranked again. You're in that area, you're just unranked again. So you've just got to find ways to, even if you keep it close, you got to find ways to win, honestly. But I think this team is probably a top 25 team based on even just defense alone, the way that they competed with these other teams. And you look at schools in other conferences that have similar records, like Arizona State. Arizona State got beat by Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's teams that Mizzou, you can't always use the transitive property, but there are things that's an direct head to head, and people are arguing, oh no, Arizona State should be ranked, or no, SMU should be ranked. But I do think that they look at the quality of losses. Every one of Mizzou's losses are now in the top 14, and they're playing another team again this week that's in the top 10. So I think Mizzou's probably deserves to be in the rankings somewhere around that 20 to 25 spot. I just don't think it matters that much.
For sure. I think I agree with you. When you look at Bill Connolly's S&P Plus for this week 13, I find this so interesting. But for Bill's his S&P Plus algorithm that he's created, this Missouri ranks 16th. It's still highly regarded as Mizzou as a team that is performing well and is a great performing team. And I don't know if that takes injuries into consideration either, just in terms of how they've played their games. Look, A&M is a really good football team. I think that should be talked about a little bit more, how good A&M is. I know that they had survived a scare against South Carolina at home, which the fact they came down from 30 or 37 points.
30 to 3.
Yeah.
30 to 3. And
they won that game. Incredible. That means this year's a little bit different, I think, for Texas A&M is what I think that means. We'll see what they do against, they got Samford this week, and they end up with Texas. And then in Austin against Texas, which, I mean, I don't think it matters. I think Texas A&M is very solidly in the college football playoff right now, because even if you lose to Texas, because for some reason the rankings love Texas. Texas has also lost 3 games, and I think they're sitting at 17. So, and not just lost 3 games, they just went out and got pretty manhandled by Georgia. They lost in a similar fashion to the way that we lost to Texas A&M, except they had Arch Manning. They have their starting quarterback playing. Right. So it's a little bit different, but no, I don't know. I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens with most of those other teams, but I think Texas A&M is okay. I think so too. I think they're probably firmly in it. We'll see how Oklahoma fares too, as they do get a big win over Alabama, and they now find themselves in the spot to, I think I saw this somewhere, they have the same % chance to host a home playoff game as Ole Miss does currently, which it's crazy. Missouri, spoiler. Nobody expected this for Oklahoma. Not when you looked at what they came off of last year, and then you looked at that schedule. I mean, there was no way. I didn't pick them to go 6-6, but I know a lot of people did. I think some people even picked them to do worse than that. So they've definitely exceeded expectations. But I think in order for them to be a truly happy fan base, if I know them well enough, they need to host that playoff game. And Mizzou's going to do their damnedest to make sure that doesn't happen. Because if they lose on Saturday, or if they lose, because their next 2 games are both in Norman, if they lose either of them, they're probably out. So this game is do or die for them. A lot at stake for Oklahoma, as you mentioned. Missouri's not really they're playing for, I guess, a second 10-win season, or a third straight 10-win season is what they're playing for at this point. But they're playing for bowl positioning, and at this point of where they're at in their season, which I don't necessarily, as Drinkwitz has said, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's still in the bowl FBS, the bowl system. I think that there still should be some prestige around bowl games, but obviously teams and players and coaches have shown that not to be as an importance as fans like to think that bowl games are. So I want them to be same. I want them to matter. Bowl games are so fun. I think that the players have a lot of fun. They get to go on free trips and get all this swag and play another game of college football, which some of them will never get to play again after that game. That's their last chance to play high level football. So I want bowl games to matter. I wish there were more restrictions on things, but how can you tell a player not to play in a game? Yeah, it's tough. You can't. Right. Yeah, it's tough at that point, but we'll see how everything shakes out. We do have Dave Myrick hopping on with us on the franchise sports down there in Oklahoma. and he's also a play-by-play broadcaster as well. He comes on to talk some Sooners, some Tigers, and we got all kinds of stuff in that conversation as well, especially a little bit of the Mizzou-OU rivalry, kind of towards the end there about being a common now opponent, I think, which we all typically, which we agree on, which is a very rare thing for Missouri and Oklahoma people to agree on something.
Look at us.
We figured it out, but we'll take a break real quick. We'll be back on the other side with Dave Myrick.
What's going on, people? Ben Heisler, KCSN betting analyst, got some thoughts on Missouri's road matchup against Oklahoma this Saturday. We'll get to the latest odds and a pick over on DraftKings Sportsbook coming up in just a second, but you know it by now. What's your favorite touchdown? I think the answer, you know the answer, it's the next one. And that's because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown continues to bring you closer to cashing in. I've been playing touchdown props all season over at DraftKings. Whether you want to jump on board in the early portion with a first touchdown score, an anytime touchdown play is always a really popular one. Or if you're like me, you're waiting for some of the guys that had some pretty short odds in the beginning. Wait until the game gets going, start to see who's in rhythm, and maybe jump on some more favorable odds as the game goes on. There's so many different ways to play. And remember, new customers to DraftKings Sportsbook bet $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. So I was wrong last week about Missouri and Mississippi State. I thought Mississippi State would keep it close. Tigers exploded on offense. Meanwhile, Oklahoma, how about their victory, their upset win last week against Alabama? But now it's an opportunity for Missouri to maybe jump on a slow moving train with the Sooners. Yeah, their defense has been elite throughout the course of the season, but you get a win like that against Alabama, they might be a little bit slow to start. And so my bet for this game is to take the Tigers. I like them at plus 7.5, but I think the bet that I prefer is first half Missouri plus 4.5. I think it's a really good number. The most other books have this, by the way, as we record this today at 3.5. So you're getting an extra point of value over on DraftKings with Missouri plus 4.5. There's also an opportunity, I think, to jump on a better number with Bo Pribula potentially jumping back into the swing of things this week. Crazy note, by the way, according to Josh Galloway, since 2000, Oklahoma 43-3 in November home games. Again, I'm not necessarily picking Missouri to win, but I do think, especially in the first half, they can keep it close, knowing that Oklahoma's offense really just isn't an offense that I think is going to have anything explosive in this game against the Tigers. And again, slow start is something that I would expect as well. So that's my pick. Missouri first half plus 4.5 in their matchup against Oklahoma. And remember, all you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app if you want to get in on the action, if you want to fade the action. Use the code KCSN. That is code KCSN for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. KCSN in partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Remember, if you have a gambling problem, just call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Your bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Dave, appreciate you joining the show, talking some Tigers and some Sooners. Big college football action going down on noon in Norman. How are things down there in Oklahoma?
It's 11 a.m., by the way.
Yeah, I forgot that I wasn't in Eastern time.
Which you never are.
Which I never am. So I don't know why I said noon.
There's noon Eastern. It rolls off the tongue.
It does, yeah.
I get it, man. Things are good. That people are excited. It's kind of funny, the switch I've seen since the Ole Miss loss in Norman, when it was everybody's hair's on fire. Brent Venables has got to go. Look, I didn't give the team much of a chance after that, to be honest. You're walking into Neyland Stadium at night. Good luck with that. And then the next week, you only have to go to Alabama and beat them at Bryant-Denny. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. So to OU's credit, they went on the road and did some really tough things. Not always the prettiest football, but they did enough to beat two pretty good teams and two pretty tough places to win. So the fan base is stoked. I mean, there's always high expectations in Norman. Some of it, is unwarranted in some years, but right now, look, it's warranted. It's right there at their fingertips. This team has given the fan base a reason to think, yeah, this can be a really special year. Just don't mess it up down the stretch. They got two really tough games left, two very tricky games left, starting with Missouri. So I think people are, they're kind of nervous because all of a sudden there's stuff to play for again, but they're very excited as well.
You kind of mentioned those struggles you guys had starting this season, and you guys have had a few of those struggles the past couple of seasons, which is so weird being for Norman, Oklahoma. You don't typically have those with Oklahoma football. Has Venables kind of proved that he's there to stay? Has the team bought in? What's the identity of the team now, going into these final two games?
Yeah, I think he's done enough to stay. To be honest with you, it was dicey after Texas. I mean, if you're a coach at Oklahoma and you got a 1-3 record versus Texas, historically that does not bode well for your future. But I think the last 2 weeks, a team has to have something to walk into those two places back to back and come out 2-0. That they just, not a lot of people in the country are going to go undefeated in those games back to back. So yeah, that shows me this team has at least heart, if nothing else, and that stems from the head coach. I mean, Brent. Nobody has ever disliked Brent Venables. I've talked to the guy face to face in press conferences. He's about the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Just a guy that you want young kids to be around and model themselves after for life. All that's great, and it should mean more theoretically, but it doesn't. Wins and losses is what it comes down to. He did not have enough of those coming into this year. But yeah, this year, right now, I mean, it's kind of staved off disaster for Oklahoma. It wasn't going to go to a bright place. If he had lost 3 or 4 to finish this up, more than likely they'd be looking for a new coach. And I don't think that's a good thing for any school right now. With the way the portal is, I mean, OU's got a really good defense. You fire Brent, 50% of that's out the door. So they needed this. They needed Brent to be the guy. And yeah, he's done enough to be the guy, and the buy-in is fully there.
I want to talk about that defense because that Oklahoma defense has been a hallmark forever, I'm pretty sure, in Oklahoma. So now this year they are an incredibly talented unit, and a unit that has been basically the hallmark of this team this season. They've got high regards in every statistical category that you look at for the defense. That Oklahoma defense is at the top of it. What has that defense meant to the identity of this team, especially with the offensive struggles with Mateer's injury and everything like that? How has that defense kind of righted the ship for this Oklahoma team?
Yeah, Tucker, good question. Last year that defense was right there. They were really good with a historically pitiful offense with Jackson Arnold that just could not get out of the way and allow the defense a chance to win games. This year, the opposite is happening. The offense is like, we'll just exist and do things every now and then and score enough points. And we got a kicker that can make it from like 90 yards. So we'll just not turn the ball over and let our Daisy Dukes kicker, make field goals and let you guys do your thing. That's been the backbone of the team. We thought it would be coming in. I thought the offense would be better. John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle,
right.
They've not proven what, the hype was about. They've not come anywhere close to proving, they were worth going out and getting and all the hype in the offseason. But the defense, we thought, the front seven's going to be really good. The back end, it's kind of inflated. I think there's a misnomer that the weakness on the OU defense is the pass defense. I don't think so. I mean, they played in a 3-high shell against Tennessee and Alabama. They gave up yards between the 20s, so that kind of inflated the passing yards, but that was more just not wanting to get beat over the top. The pass D is still really good, and that front seven can get home awfully quick. So, yeah, it's a very good, very deep, very fast unit that their big thing, as you guys know, is to get in the backfield and force tackles for losses. That's the biggest issue. That sets teams behind the sticks. When you do that, here comes the blitz. So anybody that has, success will do so on first and second down, staying ahead of the chains. That's kind of where Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss stung Oklahoma the entire game. That's how they came into Norman and got a win.
So Mizzou and Oklahoma kind of look very similar on paper. They're both of them not great offenses, both of them pretty elite defenses. Kind of a matchup or a nightmare matchup for Mizzou, who wants to run the ball down your throats. Who are some of those defensive threats that Mizzou fans should be looking out for?
Oh, man, where do I start?
Mason Thomas, maybe?
I mean, that's Oklahoma. Yeah, they're going to try to line up in the numbers game and get Missouri to run. That's what they want them to do, even though they're really good at it. Then Oklahoma harvests souls, and that's what they do is stop the run. They've got dudes up front. David Stone, former 5-star defensive tackle, Jaden Jackson, his countermate there at defensive tackle, PJ Adibeore, another 5-star defensive end, 6'5", 260, freak off the edge. Mason Thomas, Marvin Jones Jr., another 5-star transfer from Florida State. Taylor Wine that got the strip sack on Ty Simpson to kind of win that one for Oklahoma off the edge. Then the linebacking contingent, very good, very fast. Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, Sam Omasigo, Owen Heineke. I almost said Corey, his older brother that played in 2000. But, yeah, they're all good, all fast. They all fit their gaps really well, and they got disruptors in the middle like David Stone. Those guys just at 300+, they just squat in the middle. They shoot gaps. They're hard to move, and those linebackers roam through the gaps and clean up everything. That they're really, really good run defense.
For those listening that don't know, teams are only averaging 2.48 yards per carry against this Oklahoma defense. So it is no joke. It is no joke against, especially for a team that's what we're going to do if we're smart. And if there's a couple more things we should do if we want to win, but we're going to try to establish the run game.
Yeah, how about have a competent special teams unit? That would help too. I think that when you talk about this game, Ahmad Hardy coming off the 300-yard game right against Mississippi State, and everyone's like, "See, finally, you ran the football and you won a football game." That's going to be a huge emphasis. But now you head to a team that is practically a brick wall up front and that you can't really run against. So it's going to be interesting to see here too. Sticking on that Oklahoma defensive side before we flip over to the offense, Missouri is going to try to play, I think, play it coy with their quarterback of who's going to be out there, if it's Bo Prabula or if it's going to be Matt Zellers. I really think Drinkwitz has wanted to do this all year. But like, who's going to be the quarterback? We don't really know. I think he's kind of wanted to do this all year. So now that he has like a mild little opportunity to do it, he's going to jump all over it and be a little coy with it. How does that change things for you, Dave, in terms of who the quarterback is back there? Obviously, they do have a little bit different styles of quarterback play. I think Bo uses his legs a little bit more, but Zellers has much bigger of an arm.
Yeah, I mean, Prabula, if I'm an OU fan, would scare me more because if you look at quarterbacks that have success against Brent Venables' defense, they're mobile. Trinidad Chambliss, I'll reference again. This year for Ole Miss is one of the few that was able to, Oklahoma gets upfield so fast in their rush and they get around the edge so fast. But if they're not disciplined with that, quarterbacks that can step up and get out the gate and are fast enough to do it, they're a problem. And Chambliss was. And so that's why Prabula would kind of worry me more as straight drop back passer. As we just saw with Ty Simpson, they're kind of statues back there, and that's not good against this pass rush.
Yeah, numbers have honestly been kind of similar for Bo. I mean, obviously, Bo's are a little bit more skewed because he played, the cupcake games at the beginning of the year. But those later SEC games, the numbers are pretty similar. So, or passing wise, at least. But Bo definitely looks better with his legs, and he's more similar to Brady Cook, who can really get you in those scramble modes. So like Mizzou, Oklahoma hit the transfer portal pretty hard. They had to. Things weren't looking that great offensive line wise, wide receiver wise. who besides Mateer and Jaden Ott, who has kind of been a bust, no offense to any Oklahoma fans that are listening, but he hasn't been the Ahmad Hardy in the transfer portal that they had thought. So who else have you guys picked up on that offensive side of the ball that you see being an impact player?
Isaiah Satania, wide receiver from Arkansas. He's really stepped right in from day one and become the guy. He's the go-to guy for John Mateer, really the only Oklahoma wide receiver with speed to take the top off of defense. And then that has opened up some stuff for Deion Burks underneath, Jaron Canick that moved from tight end or from linebacker to tight end in the offseason. A move that all of us thought was just kind of a novelty, like, that's cute. We'll see him maybe in a package once a year. No, it's been the exact opposite. He's been a mainstay on offense, kind of a security blanket underneath. Beyond that, Xavier Robinson is really good at football. He played up at Missouri last year, running back. He's a load, 240 pounds. He can go 75 in the blink of an eye for whatever reason. For the second year in a row, he didn't play the first 7 weeks of the year. Indictable on the coaching staff. It's just straight up asininely stupid to keep this guy on the bench. The running back rotation's not been good. Really nothing offensively has been good for the second year in a row at Oklahoma. It's failed. The backbone of the defense is what's winning games. Taking the ball away three times, 2 games in a row is what's winning games. But the offense, to be honest, has been kind of pathetic. I know John Mateer broke his thumb. Well, he came back and played against Texas. That tells me he's good, or else he wouldn't play. And it's been 5 weeks, so plus a bye week in there. So, you expect to see some improvement. One thing I'll say, the offensive line been kind of a mixed match all year with guys up there. Really the last 3 games, or the first 3 games all year, they've had the same starting 5. And that's starting to show. They're starting to gel and move people off the ball a little bit. Plus, playing a running back that's good is actually helping. So, Jaden Ott, you're right. You don't need to apologize. That's known. I mean, it's the biggest bust in portal history. The guy's getting $1 million to go to class and nature watch, I guess. I don't know what he does. It's not play football. If there's a lemon law and they get their money back, I hope they do.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top-quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
That's one of those transfer portals. When it was announced that he was going to Oklahoma, I was like, man, they got Mateer and Ott at the side. Like those are 2 guys. You're just like, man, that offense is actually going to be pretty good. And I want to take it back to Mateer because you mentioned the broken thumb that he had, the broken hand. He was able to come back for that Red River shootout and was able to play in that game. But just to an outsider's perspective, watching that game, it just didn't look like he was quite ready for it. Truthfully, how is he he been? Can you see him getting better, I guess is what I'm asking, or can you see him kind of settle back down into this offense, or how has he been kind of since he came back?
I mean, I'm not going to use this as an excuse. I'm just not. I was asked the night of the Texas game, you think he wasn't right? No, look, they played the guy, and that tells me he practiced, and they said, okay, he's good to go. So I can't use the thumb as an excuse. Now, that being said, he looked like a quarterback that hadn't practiced in 2 weeks, right, against Texas. That showed. And, I think a little bit, very incremental. He's been better and better each week. I thought the second half up at Neyland against Tennessee was his best half of football since the injury. But then last week, he didn't do much. But I think people need to remember Alabama is really good defensively. They're top 15 in the country in total defense. They're not scrubs that we're going against in a very hostile place. So if OU's offense kind of looks stagnant, there's probably reasons to that. It's a tough D to play against. But no, Mateer, People need to remember, even before the injury, he wasn't lighting the world on fire. I mean, he made enough plays to win games against Auburn and Michigan, two really good defenses, no doubt. But it wasn't like, 370 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. That's never been the case this year. The guy can sting you with his legs. Ben Arbuckle falls in love with the quarterback run game a little bit too much. I think it's known John Mateer can run. I think opposing defenses get it, and that they kind of plan for it. So, I would expect to see more incorporation of Xavier Robinson and actually throwing the football this week against a pretty talented Missouri front seven.
Yeah, in a pretty weak Missouri secondary. Now, the numbers are a little bit skewed. The front seven has been so good that it's made the secondary look a little bit better. But that's definitely the weakness on this team. So if I'm Oklahoma, I'm attacking that. But you and I talked a little bit off camera yesterday about some of the keys for Missouri to win. We talked about establishing the run game, limiting penalties, limiting turnovers, all things that, the run game, obviously, we talked about, and then the limiting turnovers, which Oklahoma likes to take the ball away from you. What are some of the keys to Oklahoma securing the win this week?
Oh, it's going to be so boring for the listeners. This is Coach Speak 101. Take care of the football and play a clean game. I said it going into Tuscaloosa. Just don't turn the ball over and limit the penalties, and I'll live with the outcome. Well, it turns out if they do that, they're pretty good and they're pretty tough to beat. Just don't turn the football over. They had a costly one against Ole Miss, a punt return fumble, and they're set up to win the game. Else they're 9-1 right now and top 5 in the country. So take care of the football. I think, again, establishing Xavier Robinson. I sound like a broken record every week on different formats. So I've come out and said this. Ben Arbuckle just will not stick to the run game and tries to force the pass. I don't know why he does this. Air raid, great. If it's what you're known for, I guess you got to stick to it. Whether it works, be damned, because it really doesn't at times when the run game is there to be had. So I would say establish a ground game against Missouri. Take pressure off John Mateer. If he's looked a little rushed and shaky, I think because there's been a lot of pressure on the guy to be the hero for the OU offense. So take some pressure off his shoulders, and that'll open up things for the offense play action-wise down the field. But to me, take care of the football, establish a run, of course, stop the run on defense, and I think OU will be in pretty good shape. I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all. I see a 4-quarter war that comes down to the end. I don't see a lot of separation between these two teams.
I hope not. I'll be there.
You don't want.
I want it to be. I need it to be a good game. I can't. I've sat through some bad ones on the way. I sat through 34-0 at Alabama last year. I can't. Just keep it close.
Yeah. You want to be entertained for 4 quarters. Yeah, so especially the defensive nature of both these two teams. You would anticipate it's a little bit, maybe kind of like last year's matchup between these two teams, where it is incredibly close, and then it just takes a turnover here or there by either team for it to go one way. Dave, I was looking this up actually. The Sooner defense is 17-0 since 2023 when they win the turnover battle. And they're 4-0 this season. So just to your point, like when they get more possessions, when their defense gives their offense more possessions, it's important. 6-10 when losing it, and 4-2 this season in that same time span as well. So giving their offense more opportunities is definitely going to be a big thing for them. Obviously, that Missouri and Oklahoma are going to be that common opponent for these next 4 years, right? I'm curious what the perception is in Norman around that. I know that there's a lot of different schools that other teams want other than Missouri. We're not ignorant to that, right? Like teams really don't. Missouri is not like a team that other teams want to play for 4 straight years. We understand that. We get that. What is the thought process behind the common scheduling and the teams that Oklahoma got in that deal?
You know what? I think OU fans are kind of stoked to get Missouri, to be honest with you. There's been, for whatever reason, I didn't see it coming, but there's been kind of a clash between the fan bases, mostly on social media. They don't like each other. And I think when that got announced, they're kind of like, all right, we can get this thing going, a new rivalry, with a former foe and a conference that we were both in. So I think they kind of dug the Missouri aspect. You go back to the Caden Green transfer and bad blood there. And I think a lot of it was manufactured by Twitter trolls, but it worked. It got the fan bases riled up and stoked and pissed off at each other. They don't like each other. So now they're going to play each other. And that's kind of cool. The rest of it, Ole Miss was kind of the one like, huh? Did they just pull this one out of a hat? And I think Lane Kiffin saw that and felt it. And he's been trying. I mean, since they won on Owen Field, he's trying to troll Brent Venables and kind of get this thing cranked up.
Lane? Trolling?
Yeah, right? Who would have guessed Lane Kiffin? And of course, OU fans that don't know that, they're like, oh, Lane Kiffin sucks. You're just obsessed. I'm like, guys, he's just, never mind. You can't explain it to some, but yeah, Missouri, I think they're kind of stoked about getting to play the Tigers again. And look, people haven't forgotten last year, Jackson Arnold, the disaster, fumble, whatever that was, bad football. And Missouri's credit, they took advantage and won, but OU fans, that stung them, and they have not forgotten, and they're looking forward to the Saturday.
It's wild because I do feel like a lot of people be like, that's on rivalry. It's so lopsided. And it's like, we get that it's lopsided. So is Oklahoma State in Oklahoma. That's more lopsided. But for me, it's like Missouri is not the same team that they were in the Big 12. Like, they'll have injuries, they'll have bad games, obviously, but they're never going to close that gap with Oklahoma. Oklahoma's always going to be Oklahoma. They're always going to be a blue blood. Mizzou's never going to be a blue blood. But that gap is smaller now than it was whenever Mizzou was in the Big 12. So I don't necessarily understand people getting upset that they have to go to Columbia and play Mizzou, because for me, playing the team that you've played 97 times is exactly the type of team that you want to play. Yeah. People have complained about Mizzou and Arkansas being manufactured rivalry. Well, because they've only played, 15 times or somewhere around there. But with a team that you've played this many times, it's not manufactured, and then people are upset about it. So you can't please everybody, but I thought when they picked this group, OU was a no-brainer for me. Texas A&M is my what, but OU was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the Missouri now is not the team that people remember, playing Gary Pinkel back in the day and coming to Norman with Bob Stoops. And even though those were some pretty good games and some really good games up at Faroe too, back in the old Big 12 days. But it's a different Missouri team. It's an SEC team. I never thought I'd say. I made fun of people for saying, "Oh, we're SEC" for a decade. Now I'm the one saying it, but it's true, and it's like a different deal. You can see it in the trenches when teams kind of make that transformation to call themselves an SEC team. You get it. You see why they do. It's a different deal than what you see in the Big 12 and out there in the pack. So. I look at the Missouri now and think that's an exciting rivalry for Oklahoma. There's bad blood there, between I don't know if there's between the staffs. The fan bases don't like each other, so that'll be fun to watch.
This is, as Maggie mentioned, they've played 97 times. This will be the 98th time that these two teams have met. This will be the 16th ranked matchup between the two teams as well. Also, Missouri will be looking for their first win in the last 19 games in Norman. So a spot where Missouri hasn't won in quite some time. Dave, appreciate your time hanging out with us, previewing this Missouri-Oklahoma game. Appreciate you hopping on.
Anytime, guys. Really impressed with your format. I've watched your show before and really dig the way that you guys do things, and happy to be a part of it.
Dave and I are friends. We met arguing over Drinkwitz, and now we're friends. So
yeah, we're Twitter BFFs. Not this week. She's putting it on hold to come to Norman to hopefully win. But it's going to be a fun game. I really think it's going to go to the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. I really do.
It'll be a good one. You can watch that at 11 a.m. Central on ABC. You can catch that. So for Dave and Maggie Johnson, I am Tucker Franklin. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the Mizzou. That's who. I will have the post-game show live right after the Missouri-Oklahoma game, so stay locked in for that on the KCSN post-game channel. And we'll see you then after Missouri and Oklahoma.